In the world of Gilmore Girls this week, there has been a new person who has joined Instagram.
Oh boy.
Do you have any guesses?
Darling, I wouldn't have.
Take a stab. Take a little guesseroo.
Alexis Bledel.
No, although there was pictures of her going around. I think she went to like an award show and she looked very lovely. That did happen this week. So
Who?
Lauren Graham.
Oh.
So I guess I should caveat this by saying that she actually created her Instagram many months ago, but she never posted. So there was a lot of speculation of like, is this even a real Instagram account? Did someone just make one with her name and somehow manage to get a blue check mark? There was a lot of speculation. But on St. Patrick's Day, she posted with the infamous, I forget exactly the words on the shirt, but it's like Kiss Me I'm Irish type green shirt from
Okay.
Gilmore Girls. So she posted her wearing it currently today and then a screenshot from the show. And people lost their minds because, of course. And,
I mean, yeah, I can absolutely see that happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's been posting since then of like just other like candid type shots. It seems like she might be going on a book tour again, which I missed the first time. So if she comes back, we go in and we're getting VIP tickets because we must. I missed it and I must correct the error.
At what cost? Are we going to have to mortgage our house again?
I mean, it's not out of the question. I feel...
I'm not saying we won't do that. I'm just saying I have to be prepared.
Yeah, you should prep now.
To sell a kidney.
Yeah, probably should prep now. Yeah. Maybe get your blood selling on the market. I don't know. Whatever it is you need to do, prep now. I'm warning you. She said we're going on tour again. So warning now. Be prepared. We may have to mortgage our home, sell our car. I don't know. If
I wind up in an ice bath in a hotel room, you'll know why.
Yeah, basically. So if you're not on Instagram, you should probably go there and follow her and see what she's doing. And then, while you're there, you could like follow us. I don't know. Or with the pod already on Instagram. You could do that. And then, I don't know, we could chat and stuff. So that's what's going on in my world. What's going on in your world?
Literally nothing. I go to work and I come home. It's like the Planet Fitness commercial. I lift things up and I put them down. I go to work and I come home.
Yeah.
That's my life.
Well, let's just stay in the Gilmore world then, because sounds like it's way more fun. So, I'm Shay.
I am Tyler.
And this is Oi with the Pod already. We are moving on to episode 8, which we were both shocked about, I want to say.
Yeah, I also think that our last episode, we were talking about like episode 4 or 5, something like that. We're very off.
Yes. So it's episode 8. It's called Love, War, and Snow. And we're doing the first of our 3-parter recap.
I have a question. Is it Love, War, and Snow, or is it Love and War and Snow?
It is with the ands. It just doesn't feel grammatically correct. Because, So we can start with the title. So there is a Reddit post, I think we've mentioned it before, out there that like tries to determine what the reference, if any, behind all of the titles are. I don't know how far they got. I don't think they got through the whole whatever. But anyways, they have this one. And they are speculating that it is a reference to All is Fair in Love and War. And the fact that snow is added to it is an indication that the rules don't apply when snow happens. And you can see that because Lorelai shirks the rules during a snowstorm.
There is actually a historical precedent for that. And I'm going to bore everyone with it.
Oh, I'm here. Do it.
Most famously during World War I, they had the Christmas ceasefire. So both sides decided to stop the World War.
Because it was Christmas?
Because of Christmas.
I mean, I love that.
They had Christmas trees together. They exchanged presents. Like, it was a whole thing. And then
they exchanged presents with the enemy?
Yeah. And then they went back.
I love this.
And they went back to shooting each other like 2 days later. Yeah.
I'm very confused. Where did you say this happened?
World War I.
World War I. I mean, I love that. That sounds quaint and adorable. And just, I wish that it just turned into a deciding to not have war.
Yeah,
that would have been better.
Can we just go home now? I think that was probably their attitude. But no, they went right back to shooting each other after Christmas, after the holiday season.
At least there was a delightful reprieve. So, I mean, all things are better with snow? Is that what we're trying to say?
I mean, I don't think they would enjoy the snow living in a trench. But yeah, I mean, sure, it was the snow, not Christmas.
All right. Well, at least it's a happy vibe. So there's going to be a lot of discussion in this episode about snow. I smell snow, all of that. So come prepared, come with your thoughts.
Strap in, because we are bringing that conversation to the forefront.
Yeah, we're bringing the heat on that. But before we...
Which is not good for snow. You don't want to bring the heat for snow.
No. Before we anger any of our listeners, the total of 50 that we have, I would like to just ask that you like this podcast, you leave a review if you haven't already done so, and help share this around. Let somebody else know that you are listening to this. It will really help us out, and we are trying very hard to kind of grow this community a little bit. And so if you can do that, share our little clips that we post on Instagram, share your favorite quote from the show, anything that you can think of really, really helps us out. And I'm saying this now before Tyler makes you never want to listen to the show again. So do that now, pause, do that, and then come back. Thank you very much.
All right. So the opening scene. Now you said this is a cold open.
Yeah, okay. So I've been listening to the Pod Meets World podcast. Anybody else 90s kid out there? Most of us, right? Most of us? Yeah. Okay. Well, so
everyone in this room, yeah.
It covers Boy Meets World, and we could give you some stuff we've done recently related to that, but since this isn't a Boy Meets World podcast, I'm not going to say that. But they talk about like the different parts of a show, and apparently the scene before the credits is the cold open. So I don't know what that means. If anybody out there is like in acting world and knows what a cold open is and knows, but that's what this is called.
It's like the soft launch where you launch before you launch the show. Like you're starting the show before you're starting the show, kind of.
I guess.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like like a cold call. Like you feel like they like just found you out of nowhere and they're like launching into something with no like warning. I feel like that's like the TV show just starts in the middle of something and you're like, oh, okay, we're doing something now. And so here we are opening on like something without warning. That's kind of how I interpreted it. But we have not Googled. So there's definitely like an actual definition. So you guys can come at us and like define it for us. Yep. But yeah, it was just a term that I learned on a podcast this week. So here we are. But the cold open, let's sound really professional and delete all of the other things, was I think the first town hall.
It was very clearly the first town hall because we've not seen them all sit in Miss Patty's dance studio to argue about things that don't matter, like drug paraphernalia or otherwise known as lava lamps, because that's the only reason that you could ever possibly have a lava lamp.
So I have a few things I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a confession, and this is going to hurt my Gilmore Girls fandom card. And I'm feeling really guilty about this. And so I'm really asking for your support in this time.
Okay.
So I didn't realize until this episode that the town meetings took place in Miss Patty's dance studio. I, for some reason in my brain, thought they were two separate buildings located on the same side of the street and everything, but I did not put together that this was her dance studio.
Well, so I think it perfectly illustrates the small town vibe.
Yes, it sure does.
Because you have town hall wherever you have the space. In this case, it's Miss Patty's dance studio because they don't have like an actual town hall.
Okay, but let's first of all, let's just acknowledge first of all that makes me a bad fan, and I realize it, and I own this.
Yes, you're gonna have to do some kind of penance for that.
I know. I hope you guys forgive me. Secondly, though, I think this is a continuity error or something, or an error in the way that they understand how towns work, because even small towns have a town hall. They may not hold all of their town meetings there, but all of them have a town hall. And from what I have seen of Stars Hollow, there is no town hall, and that is just not how it works.
Well, I have a different continuity error. We'll get to that. We'll
get
moment.
To that. I had to own. We're here to re-experience the show, and we have to call it when we make a mistake. So there's that. But so basically, they're having a town meeting. It looks like the start of the town meeting, Taylor is arguing to have a no parking sign in front of Dosie's Market, and they are making...
He wants it removed so that he can park there.
Okay. I thought he wanted it there so that nobody else could park there, so that it was open for him to park. That's how I interpreted it.
No, he wanted the parking spot removed because he's going to be the first one there because he's Taylor. He's going to get there at 4 a.m. to open the store.
But does Taylor have to follow the rules? I know he's a rule follower, but
in this is my continuity error. He's not the one in charge because there's a mayor somehow.
Yeah, like who is this man?
There's a town mayor that's not Taylor that somehow just exists for this one episode.
He's like You know, in all the lawyer shows that we watch where there's always like a partner who is like super old and actually isn't part of it, but like is also part of it, but not part of it. You know what I mean? He's that.
He's that. He's also the Christmas future for Luke. He's the old, crotchety, curmudgeon-y.
You're saying he's what Luke is going to be when he
gets
older?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. He's the bleak reality of Luke in 20 years.
Now, did you catch his name?
No.
Harry Porter.
Ah.
So I don't know if we've already had a Harry Potter reference, so we know that time period still whatever. But like literally one letter off. I don't know.
And then never seen again.
I don't know that. I'm not going to say that with certainty.
I'm going to say that definitively.
I don't believe
he does not
again.
exist out of this episode. He's going to be back again next episode. And I'm going to feel like an idiot, but he's gone after this episode.
I don't feel comfortable saying that because, like, honestly, I thought Gypsy existed by now, and we'll get to that, but she don't. If anybody wanted to know, so I
and
just
Drella is long gone.
She's gone,
seemingly,
but she was there much longer than I thought she was.
Yeah.
So I'm just not comfortable saying these things. So they're having this discussion. You actually asked me during research what Andrew owns. And after reviewing the script, I have an answer for you. He owns a shop that sells the lava lamps.
That's it? That's what... A lava lamp store. Yeah, in Stars Hollow, because of course that makes sense.
I mean, I'm assuming it's more of like a, retro vibe store or something like that. Or maybe a record store, because I know like Lane obviously has lava lamps and, kind of fits that vibe. Something to that effect, but he owns the lava lamp store, so you're welcome. That is what Andrew owns. I enjoy Andrew a lot. He's one of the funny, quirky townspeople. This is his first episode, as far as I'm aware. And also he happens to be somebody we interact with on Instagram, which just is so cool that that's like a possible thing to do.
Can I just say that these scenes are so emblematic of Gilmore Girls, and it does such a great job of making it feel
cozy.
Like a real place, like a real town. You don't get this kind of moment on any other show that I've ever what
do you mean?
You don't get a town hall like where they're just sitting there.
And there's like different characters with different personalities, different agendas.
You don't get that. I mean, other than maybe Parks and Rec because it's a government show and they have to interact with the public because they represent the town. Like there's no real kind of heart of the town moment in a lot of shows. It's the main cast or the main ensemble of characters that you follow, and then nothing else exists outside of that. There's like a wall between reality.
So you like that about this?
I do. I think it is underappreciated in terms of building a more in-depth, believable place.
Yeah, I think it's really endearing, and I really enjoy the fact that even townspeople like Andrew, who are smaller characters and don't really have like a full-fledged background story, you still remember them and you still appreciate them, and they still have really great lines, and it's just, I don't know, it really adds to it. And plus I've always wanted to, in my brain, if I went to a town meeting, it would be like that, and that's why I've never gone, because I don't want to ruin it. But
they're very not that. They're very not that.
But like in my brain, it was always like, oh, how adorable would it be that like on Thursday night when I get out of work, I can walk down the street, get a nice cup of coffee, and then go and like watch some hijinks at the town meeting.
Having been to town meetings, you're not missing anything.
I mean, we do have town meetings here.
All towns have them.
Yeah,
if you want to go.
I've seen them and I've looked at them and I'm like, that doesn't look hijinksy. That looks very stuffy.
Oh, it is the epitome of stuffy and boring.
Yeah. So basically, I will always go in my brain to these things, but I will never actually go because that doesn't sound as fun.
Into my continuity error, talking about the mayor again. Towns don't have mayors, at least in the New England area. They have a board of selectmen, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think. So we live in a town.
City has mayors. We have a select board.
We live in a town and we have a select board because I saw that we had a select board election recently.
Yep.
And I grew up in a city. Yes, I grew up in a city and I had a mayor. So yeah, that tracks from the limited knowledge that I have.
I grew up in a town and we had a board of selectmen. So it's the same kind
of thing. Are we sure that is across the board thing, or are we using our very limited scope of knowledge?
That's why I caveated it to New England. It's not normal for New England so far as I'm aware.
And when you are getting ready with your little typing fingers to let us know how wrong we are, I'm totally here for it, especially because Tyler's the one that's wrong. Just remember that he did caveat it, so that makes it better. Okay, so, but for sure, at least in my limited scope of knowledge, it does seem to track. I wonder if it's different in California or on the West Coast, or if
Or
they
just
just have
anywhere out
zero
of New England. Yeah.
knowledge.
I just think that they think a town mayor fine. It's
Towns, they have towns in California too, right? Like a town isn't a New England thing, is it?
well, it's different. It's not a New England town, obviously, because it's not
Well,
the quaint, small
obviously not.
kind of. It's they have like places where no one lives, and there's like crazy people out in the woods.
Well,
But they
so do
don't.
we. So do we.
We do, but they don't really have the same kind of tight knit, small, quaint community.
I'm sure there's somebody from California going to be like, absolutely, we do.
They're missing out on the quaint, and they're missing out on the butter churning.
Oh, goodness gracious. So many references that they're not going to understand, but we will move forward. Additionally, in this town meeting, we see Rory and Lorelai basically waiting for Luke to explode, and they're making fun of his mannerisms. They're making fun of the way he's like grabbing his hat and little things he's doing, and basically they're just mocking him the whole time, which is quite funny.
Well, it's the pastime of town hall for them. That's what they live for, because it happens every meeting. It's just a question of when.
And I mean, we've all done it, right? We've all,
People watching is great.
People watching is great. Is the best thing. But he is really upset because they're going to have reenactors for a battle of Stars Hollow of sorts. I don't know if we can use the word battle. That feels loose, but that's what they said. And he is pissed because he's like, this isn't even a real battle. These people stood outside to do nothing. I think his quote was, they might as well have been wearing prom dresses because they got stood up.
Yeah.
He was pretty upset about it. And he also didn't like the fact, which I appreciate from Luke, the implication that we are celebrating a group of people who were trying to retain land that they had stolen, I guess is the way.
Well, it's kind of just the New England spirit of I'll do what I want and you can't tell me what to do. It's highlighted from from a Revolutionary War perspective because we don't want to pay taxes. Like it was a whole thing, and we, to be fair, did steal a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love this scene for a different reason.
Okay.
So I love Luke losing his mind because he has a great monologue here. Like it's very well done. And the writing about they might as well have been wearing prom dresses is just so
good.
Clever. This show has a lot more of that. In addition to world building, like just building a sense
world building, like as in like fantasy books,
building a community, building a believable place. Like you don't see that. And the writing on the show is just fantastic.
It's spectacular.
It's just great. Like 10 out of 10. And just there's so many quotable lines. Or memorable lines from all of the episodes. It's just
you don't have any use for lava lamps unless you're
selling
drugs paraphernalia or something like that. Yeah. Obviously, because obviously none of us had lava lamps. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that his speech was really great, and I think it speaks to the themes that we've said earlier with Luke, as he's showing this like activist type side of him, this kind of side that's really environmentally conscious, that is liberal, that is like all of these things, and I feel like that kind of gets lost. But this speech here, it's here. It's not lost yet. We're here.
He's also over the absurdity of just celebrating something that doesn't matter. Like they stood outside for a night. Like I've slept out in a tent before. I don't make a whole thing about it. Like it's not.
I mean, I want to talk about that more when we get to the part where he talks about tradition, because I think that's an important thing to think about. But yeah, I mean, he's over it. It's just like he was with the Thanksgiving whole thing where people were dressing up and decorating. Like, yeah, he was not his jam, not his thing. And he's just not going to bow down to other people because they want to do it. So
related to that, do you know why there was never any historical relevance to Stars Hollow other than being a fictional place?
Because that's what I was going to say. Other than it being a fictional place, because obviously there's not going to be anything relevant to Stars Hollow.
Well, Connecticut in general.
Wasn't there one battle in Connecticut?
There was literally one battle of the Revolutionary War in Connecticut, and most part it was outside of Connecticut altogether. It was New York, Virginia, like other places.
So why can't we reference the one?
Well, we can. It was the Battle of Ridgefield, and I'm mad that we have not been to
Ridgefield,
one of the places, because there's a literal British cannonball stuck in the wall of a tavern that is still there.
That sounds kind of delightful.
Like
did Did they like build around it and like make it a thing?
No, like it's now a museum, but there's like a literal cannonball sticking out of the wall.
I mean, that sounds really cool to see.
Yeah. It's in Connecticut. It's close to New York, but it's not.
We were just in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing with our lives? We were just there 1 week ago.
I mean, it would have still been like a 2-hour drive from there, but yeah, it would have been.
Next time. If anybody wants to see pictures, let us know. We'll make it a trip.
I'm getting well off track. So a little bit sidetracked. I'm a history person. My bad. Getting back to the great dialogue related to prom dresses, there's also the whole "if you don't like it, leave" moment from Taylor. Go stand in
the mayor.
Oh, the mayor
that says it.
I'm getting them confused because they're basically the same
person. You might as well just meld them, which they do.
That's why they do that. So the mayor says, "Why don't you go stand in line for toilet paper in the USSR," which we've all experienced as of COVID. Like toilet paper did not exist.
Yeah, I still don't know why. I don't know why we were all running for toilet paper during COVID. Like, I don't. Did we think that it was going to be
because you didn't want to leave your house and you had to buy toilet paper to not leave your house? I don't know.
The extent that we all went to was a bit extreme.
It was nuts.
Now, was there a shortage of toilet paper when the USSR existed? Or
well, so there are a lot of stories about shortages of all kinds of things in communist countries from the Cold War period. There's a story where one of the leaders of the Soviet Union came to the United States and thought that the supermarket they took him to was staged with all of the different choices and produce and all of the things.
Oh, that's sad.
Because he couldn't believe in his mind that there was that much available for that price just in the United States. Like he didn't expect that it was that much better than home.
You're taking away the cozy vibes that I was having from the show. So maybe we should think about happier things. Why do you think he referenced the USSR when clearly that no longer existed? Do you think that was trying to show his age? Like, what do you think the reason was?
It was the age, the out of touch. It's the "if you don't like it, go home. If you don't like it, leave" kind of narrative.
I'm used to that narrative nowadays.
Yeah, we have that narrative, unfortunately. Like, it just needs to stop.
Yeah. So you think it was an age thing?
I think it was a dated age kind of. He hasn't gotten past the Cold War.
I haven't gotten past 1985.
Well, 1995 would be more close to your time.
Just had to,
or 2000,
had to put a musical reference.
Or 2005.
I mean, fair. Or 90s in general. So before we move on, we have not had a review in a very long time.
We have had reviews. We've just been very bad about referencing them on the podcast and shouting out the people.
Okay, this particular review, yes. It's been a while though, and so I wanted to make sure we read this, and also I think you're gonna enjoy this review. Okay, so it's 5 stars. Woo! And it's titled "Fantastic." I know, thank you. And this is what it says. This is an excellent pod for Gilmore Girl fans. The hosts play off each other very well. They bring a unique perspective to each episode, with Shay being a super fan and Tyler being a newer fan. Also, they truly do cover every pop culture reference, and it's interesting to hear. I look forward to more episodes coming out and to see how Tyler finds way to give us a history minute. Bye, Krista.
Thank you, Krista. And I am going to be honest, the highlight of our fan fest is going to be getting to meet you, because it's been years now.
Yes. So obviously not everyone's going to know this, but we've had other podcasts, other channels we've done a lot of social media, and Krista has been with us through it all. So it's really cool to see somebody that's been with us through every iteration.
Like the original listener for everything from years ago.
It's really cool to see someone that's been here from the beginning kind of show up in the review. So this review just like warmed my heart. And of course I had to mention your history minutes, because if you guys probably don't know, in our original podcast that we had a long time ago was a movie podcast, and Tyler had a history minute. That was one of the segments. And it was really fun, and he got to talk about all the things that he really loves, and it was just a really great time, and we made fun of him for it, even though there were a lot of people that really enjoyed it. So thank you. We really appreciate it. If you want to leave a review and you haven't had a chance, please do. Any podcasting app that you can. I think the ones that I normally see are from Apple, but leave it wherever, and we will read it if we see it, and if we don't see it, send it to us, and we'll read it anyway.
Yeah. Thank you, Krista. You are the best listener we could have asked for.
So then after the town meeting, we move into Lorelai in bed. So you see her wake up. She runs down the stairs. She opens the window and she's sniffing. And you I mean, if you're a Gilmore Girls fan, this is the birthplace of I Smell Snow. And she doesn't say it right away, but she does say it in this scene. And I mean, you had some thoughts. You were pretty upset about this whole
Well,
concept.
so I just want to get on the record.
All right.
That everyone can smell snow. Like, it's not a special ability. Like Rory says something like it's like dogs and high pitched noises that only she. No, everyone can smell snow. Like, it's just a thing that people do.
Okay. Well, first of all, we are from New England. So I do think that we have a little bit of a bias here because we have a lot more experience with snow than, say, I don't know, somebody in California who was writing the show. So there's that. Also, I know that you did research on this. I did not. But I can say from experience that I'm not confident I smell snow so much as I sense snow. Like, the best way I can describe it to somebody who hasn't gone through this is there is a shift in the way the air feels, and it seems like it's a smell, but it's not a smell that I could like describe to you.
So the only way that I would be able to describe it really is that it smells
cold,
dry, cold. So it's when you talk about smelling snow, there's one type of snow that we're talking about. It's the powdery, fluffy, wonderful snow, the superior snow. I will give you that it is the best type of snow.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because you can't smell slushy, sleety.
I mean, no. If anything, you're smelling rain at that point.
Yeah, it's awful.
It does have a smell, and there's an actual word for it, which I don't know off the top of my head. But somebody made a candle of it.
It's
so
inferior snow.
Yes,
but you can definitely. It smells like the air is just dry.
It's getting crisp, but like you just know, like it's coming. So that's what she's experiencing, and I think that the argument of can you or can you not smell snow really comes down to is there an actual smell? And I don't know that that's true, but you did some research.
So there's someone that is an olfactory doctor of some kind or a specialist.
Okay, so a doctor of smelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said it comes down to 3 primary things, none of which are smells.
See, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't.
So it's the temperature change is the first one.
Look at me go.
Yeah.
You go.
It is the humidity change because.
Okay, so does it get less humid or more humid?
More humid because precipitation is coming down. It's
dense.
Like
okay.
Rain, but it's frozen rain.
Got you.
And then it triggers a sense on your nerve in your brain that reacts to mint and other things. So it's like almost that fresh smell.
Interesting.
So
but it's not a smell.
It's all 3 of those that tricks you into thinking it's a smell.
Huh. Now, is it something that could be recreated? Like as I said, the guy that made the candle of rain, I wish I could remember what it's called. I feel really bad about it. Somebody will have to tell me. There is a candle out there that is made to smell like rain when rain is about to fall. Would they be able to do the same thing for snow? Because this isn't really a smell, right?
No,
it's a feeling.
Because anything that's going to trigger that same kind of minty scent is you're going to get pine, mint, like.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I want to go to the candle man for rain and ask him to make one for snow and see what his response is to me. That's what I want to do.
That's a challenge. I don't know.
If anybody out there knows if there's anything like this, because there's other fans of the show and things like that, and I'm sure that would be like super popular. If anyone knows that this exists or something like that exists, I would love to know what it is.
Shut up and take my money. Like,
yeah, like because
that smell experience. Because I don't know if it's a smell. It's a smellerience.
Smellerience
experience. We'll go. Is wonderful. They nailed it on the show. It is a great.
It's magical. It's.
I think for me it ties back to when I was a kid and I was hoping for a snow day. I think it's the anticipation of something positive happening.
Well, and I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it's also like the holidays and stuff. Like there's something magical about that time of year. It's just something that, I don't know, gives me happy vibes. And I think that the first time you're thinking of all of those memories of all the good times of all the happy magical things that happen during the holiday season.
Now, is that the best experience in snow?
What do you mean?
The smell.
Or is the snow the best experience?
Like the smelling snow, which you may or may not be able to do. But is that the best sense for snow?
I mean, I surely don't like how cold it is, so not touch. I'm not tasting it because we all know that you
As
don't
long as
want to
it's
do
not,
that.
as long as it's not yellow snow, you're fine.
I mean, I don't want to risk it. Thank you. Um, what hearing? I mean, I guess it sounds very nice when it comes down and it's
See, I would argue that hearing or the quiet from the snowfall is the best part of snow.
the
Like,
like soft patter.
well, like you don't make noise in the snow. There's no animals running around. Like it's just
Silent. Yeah.
peaceful. Like there's nothing more that I love more than just like being out in like snowshoeing, skiing, like just being out where there are no other people.
The difference between a mind that does not struggle with anxiety and one that does, because I prefer the birds chirping and all of that gives me a sense of feeling safe and calm, where the silence scares me.
See, I just love the silence, especially at night. At like that time where it's 6, 7 o'clock at night, it's dark out, and you're just experiencing the quiet, almost in like surround quiet.
That does sound magical if I could enjoy it.
But I think the snow is better heard or not heard than smelled, but not smelled.
Right. All right. So I would like to know.
Everyone is confused.
Yeah, I would like to know, if you are out there, can you smell snow? Can you explain what the snow experience smells like or feels like, or however you can do it? Like, explain it to someone that has never experienced snow before. Like, how would you do it? I'm very curious to see if other people are able to do this in a more eloquent fashion. I have to imagine they can, because we did very poorly. But okay, so from here, after they have their little, sniff of the air, Lorelai sits on the couch and she is sitting with the voicemail tape record thing.
Answering machine.
Yeah, I couldn't get there. And replaying a answering machine message that Max left.
It's a failure of a message. Just Max Medina. Max Medina.
You think it was a failure? Why?
Oh, it's adorable, but he wants that one back. Like
I thought it was so adorable the way he did that.
It's adorable, but I don't think that's what he was going for. It's not his normal smooth self.
See, I thought it was. It hit all of the right, like, cute elements.
Oh, it absolutely does, but it's accidental. It's not, he's not intending to be that adorable.
Oh, well, I mean, I enjoyed it very much. And I enjoyed the fact that, they had to really kind of put in there that he was reading a paper that a student wrote that says, "Get a life, Emily Dickinson," really solidifying that English teacher vibe. Like, they didn't really make sure that you knew he was an English teacher. But then it reminds me that we kind of lost that ability to replay messages like that. Like, nowadays, you're mostly texting, if anything. You might do a phone call, but how many of us listen to our voicemail? Like, at all?
Like never. Like my voicemail for the longest time has been full, and I don't get more voicemails because it's usually a telemarketer.
Right. So you don't have that, like, where I remember being a youngin' and going and listening to the message of my crush left me, where he said, like, "Hey, call me back, man. Thanks." Like, something like, and I'm just replay.
Yeah.
Because you heard their voice and they were talking to you, and it was just, we don't have that anymore. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of reminds me of how much I kind of miss that, because we all did the same thing.
It's nostalgia. It's straight nostalgia.
Yeah. Like, you did that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just replay.
I totally had people call me when I was.
Well, that's sad. And we'll move on. So then Rory comes out and she wants to know what Lorelai is doing. She talks about the snow and how excited she is about it, and then talks about the fact that she's listening to a voicemail message from Max, and Rory's a little bit weirded out, and the fact that Lorelai is saying it's sexy and that's her teacher.
Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want to think about your parents being in love with each other. Like, it's just kind of like, that's...
Y'all can do that behind closed doors. Thank you. Maybe
I don't need to know that you're happy. I just need you to be happy. Like, I don't need the details.
Yeah. Thank you. And then Lorelai says, "Does it help that he was grammatically correct?" And I was just kind of like, I don't know if that... Rory said it helped. Did that help for you?
I mean, I come from Reddit, so that is the law of the land, is grammatically correct is the only correct. So
grammar is sexy. That's what we're going with.
Yeah, I will stand by that. It's...
Well, then I'm screwed.
I don't know if it's sexy otherwise or so much as it's a matter of survival.
I mean, yes, on Reddit. Yeah, they are a different breed over there. And then we cut over to the Independence Inn, and Michelle is being Michelle. And God, I love Michelle. He does not like the snow. Was anyone shocked about that? Not thrilled about it.
Yeah, he's from France. Of course he's not.
He says it's cold and gray like a fat dead pigeon, which just love it. So beautiful.
That's just,
it's basically poetry.
It gets his point across.
It sure does.
It's very vivid and memorable.
Sure does.
I was consistently reminded in that moment of I think it's Arrested Development, where Jason Bateman is looking in a brown bag that says dead pigeon on it. And he looks and goes, I don't know what I was expecting. It's a dead, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does a very good job. And there, if you're in the New England area, you know that you either love snow or hate snow.
Oh yeah, there is no.
Yeah, you're not like nonchalant towards snow.
There's no ambivalent towards snow.
No, I love pretty snow. I hate all other snows, and I hate interacting with snow. Full stop. And I think that's where most us New Englanders are, because it can be a lot.
No, I love snow in theory. I hate the application of snow in terms of having to scrape it off my car and just shovel or stove.
Now, if I lived in a small town that was walkable and it didn't impact my life pretty much at all negatively, sure.
You live in a place where you don't have to do any of that because you have me do it for you. So you live there.
But I have to wait for you to do it.
So it's the having to wait for someone else.
Yeah, of course. I don't got the time, So they're talking about having to kind of prepare for the guests and what to do. And apparently they have parkas sitting around to hand out to guests, which seemed, I guess it's a fancy hotel. So I guess these things happen.
Would you want a used,
it's an outerwear jacket.
Yeah, but it's how many people have worn that and when was it purchased for the inn? What, 1972? It's probably like a 1980s ski jacket with
you rent ski gear when you go to a ski resort.
Yeah, but they're not on a ski slope. They're in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut.
Fair, but I don't think outerwear jackets would bother me. But then they're discussing how to make sure that the guests are okay when they're out in the weather and things go wrong. And Michelle says something to do with not everybody likes to have to be out in the cold and having to eat their friends' buttocks to stay alive.
Yeah, Michelle is awesome.
He is. Now, the internet believes that is a reference to the movie. Huh?
It's a reference to the Donner Party.
To the Donner Party? What is that?
The Donner Party is a group of Oregon trail settlers. They got lost in the mountains during winter, the Rockies.
Okay.
And they had to eat people because they ran out of food.
Well, would you be happy to know or not happy to know that is not the only time that a bunch of people got lost and had to eat people?
Oh, no, it's happened quite a few times.
Yeah. This
push comes to shove, we'll eat a person. We'll eat Steve. Yeah. Kind of just human nature is survival first.
Didn't I just watch something recently that they decided to start eating people? Oh, it was a TikTok that I saw. They all decided they crashed a plane and then
great new TikTok trend. We're just gonna
they crashed a plane and they weren't found, so they started just eating the people there until they were finally found.
Survival. Yeah.
But this is apparently a reference to the movie called Alive, which is about Uruguayan rugby team in the Andes Mountains who ended up having to eat people. I think that's also
a plane crash. I think that's another emergency circumstance where...
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I haven't seen the movie yet, but they ended up having to eat people in order to stay alive. So they had to eat their friends' buttocks. So I don't know. How you feeling about that? Would you want to go hike in the middle of the Andes Mountains in the cold, wintry weather and risk maybe having to become a cannibal? Could you be a cannibal?
I honestly don't know. It depends on how hungry I am, I suppose.
Really? You think you could do it? Could you eat my buttocks?
Well, this is turning into a really, really kind of dark podcast. I don't think so. There's no good way to answer that
No,
now.
there isn't.
No,
There isn't.
that's a trap.
Yeah, that is a trap. That is.
But I don't know, like survival first. Like you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
I will not go with you on any hiking trips. And if I do, people, remember, he said it here first. Survival first, your wife second. So.
I didn't say that second. I didn't say that second part, for the record.
So, anyways, moving forward. So they're having like fun banter about that. Suki comes out and talks about the fact that she wants to make some snowflake treats, which sounded very delightful, and I think that we should make some snowflake treats the next time that it's winter.
I think that's maple syrup candy, where she takes the maple syrup, drizzles it out in the snow.
That's what she mentioned. I don't know what that is. Is that like something you've done?
Well, yeah, you can take maple syrup and put it outside in the snow, and it turns into like almost like a brittle.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a crunchy.
Sorry, I'm not from Vermont, so.
It's like a crunchy snack of maple syrup.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Could you make them into the shape of buttocks, as Michelle suggested?
I mean, I suppose it'd be easier to do snowflakes.
I feel like I need to do both next year if we're still doing this podcast.
Great. Yep.
Yeah. So if you guys can get us to a certain point in the podcast, we'll make up some arbitrary number. We will make buttocks and snowflakes in the snow next year.
You'd need a butt mold, and that's going to put you on a list.
I'm on a list. No, I'll get like the things for baby showers. So yeah, so we're fine. So yeah, just help share us around, and if we get there, we'll do that. And then Lane shows up, and she is wearing a marching band uniform, and they're talking about her interactions with a boy that she likes, Rich Blumenfield, and she has this little tuft thing on her head, and Lorelai calls her Sergeant Pepper, which is one of our references.
That is a quad or a quintuple reference.
Well, so okay, first of all, I looked it up, and I have the actual reference, but I couldn't figure out where the reference came from. Like, so if anyone was wondering, Sergeant Pepper is not real. It is made up by the Beatles. I don't know where they got this from. Now, I did look at the album cover, and I understand where Lorelai is coming from, but do you have more information? Because it feels like you do.
Yes. So Sergeant Pepper and the Lonely Hearts Club.
Yes.
So Lane is a Lonely Heart.
She is, and that is the CD.
So it works on that reference.
Mm-hmm.
They are dressed like that because they're dressed like a marching band.
Yeah, we'll have to share the album cover on our Instagram so you guys can see that.
Yeah, it's the Beatles in the marching outfit.
Yeah.
So it works on that reference. So that's two. It's the Beatles, which is Lane.
Yeah, she would definitely understand the reference.
And there was one more. I didn't write it down.
Wow.
So it's a triple reference then. We'll go with triple reference.
Yeah, that was what you meant.
Yeah.
You just miscounted. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it works on so many levels. I think that this might be the best or most clever reference in this episode.
I think that's fair. I mean, so far, we'll see. We've got some more to go.
There's very few times do you get a multi-level reference that just hits on like 6 different things.
See, when I heard it, I thought, oh, she's referencing like a sergeant or like somebody that's like in the military or like whatever. But no, it's the Beatles. It's the Beatles. So anyway, in this scene, Lane is talking to Rory about what's going on with her love life and how she's so in love with this guy and whatever. And Rory is just not listening. Like at all. Like she isn't even feigning interest, really.
Yeah, she's doing a worse job listening than I do, which is an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But Lane is really trying to tell her how she really likes this guy, and he has changed since, when they were younger. He used to be gangly and he used to be nerdy, and he used to apparently wear a Star Trek shirt, which I guess they thought was funny. And Rory is just kind of focused on other things. She's like looking for her book in her bag for a while there. Then they go into the back room where Suki is, and they're trying to get cookies, which not even for Rory, they're for Dean, and she's focused on that. And like she just keeps putting off Lane, which this is the first time I feel like I've seen Rory not be a good friend. We've seen Lorelai not be a good friend in the past, but in this situation, Rory is not being a good friend.
And it's one of those things where she's just so caught up in other things. Like she's not intending to be inconsiderate, and she would be appalled. And she later realizes in the episode that she was a bad friend, but it doesn't even register. There's nothing there. She's more oblivious to what Lane is talking about than Lane was when she was stalking Dean at the grocery store.
This is true. They both had their level of obliviousness, but I don't know. This scene made me kind of sad because I was like, why are you just completely ignoring your friend? Like she's talking to you. It felt like there was a level of almost disassociation because they weren't living the same lives anymore. And I didn't know if it was related to her not being at Stars Hollow anymore, if it was the fact that she had a boyfriend, but it just felt like there was like this disconnect there.
It almost felt, and I don't know if this was intentional, like she had moved on.
Yes.
So like she had this new school and the new boyfriend and all of these things in her life, and she can't be bothered with the trivial things where I like a boy and he doesn't even know I exist. Like that's so
yesterday, as
right.
Hilary Duff would say.
Exactly.
Yes. That's how it felt to me too. And I felt really sad about it. I mean, and I know how the show goes, so I know like Lane ain't going anywhere, but it just felt, I don't know, not great. And I didn't really enjoy watching that scene. I think we've all been through that where we have a friend or we are the friend that moves on from a friendship and it doesn't feel great. And it's not like fun to relive through TV shows either, just seeing that.
Well, I mean, it's painful if you were the friend that was left behind.
Sure.
It is a uncomfortable reminder of you outgrowing a friend because you have both experiences in your life and it's an uncomfortable experience to have to sit there and understand what's going on.
Yeah. I'm glad that this does not happen to them, but it was a moment of sadness for me. So when they're in the back with Suki, they are getting cookies and they're Rocky Road cookies, which gives me obviously Boy Meets World vibes again. I guess we're just going to talk about that show the whole time this podcast. I have been listening to that a little bit too much, so maybe that's what it is, but that's Topanga's favorite ice cream. Rocky
what
Road.
is a Rocky Road cookie?
Because I know marshmallow and chocolate chip
and nuts. There's got to be nuts in there.
I like to ignore the nut part.
So I would be interested in a chocolate chip marshmallow cookie. I don't need the nuts. I don't need the Rocky Road part of it.
So a marshmallow chocolate chip sans nuts cookie. I'm in for it. I'd like to try it. I'm sure that the Cooking Gilmore group channel thing has done that. And if they haven't, they'll probably do it in their encore. So we should check that and see. We could just remove the
nuts. There's a lot of food references that I want to try in this episode. We'll get to that later. But I need to find...
In the last episode, we'll do a rundown of all the things you want to try from this episode. Yep. Sound good? Okay, so while they're back there, Lorelai comes back and as Suki is giving cookies to Rory and she's like, why are you taking Rocky Road cookies? You don't like Rocky Road cookies? And she's like, yes, I do. And she's like, no, is that my other daughter? Like, because absolutely not. You do not.
You know who does like them? Dean. This is a moment where she is Emily without being Emily to me.
Explain.
It's the whole teasing your daughter mercilessly with Suki, just kind of two grown women going, Rory and Dean, back and forth. It's kind of like, I get it.
It's cringy, but also
it's good natured on Lorelai's part.
It's what you do to friends.
But that's not how Rory is taking it.
No, she's annoyed.
She's taking it annoyed and kind of mortified and put on the spot because it's just there's other people around. Like it's
Lane.
Yeah,
it's Lane. They're not doing it like in front of the whole town.
They're doing it at the end. There's Michelle and other people in like they don't exist outside of.
So this would have bothered you.
Oh yeah, I'd left. I'd have been like, nope, we're not doing this.
I mean, I do think that there is a level of Rory just kind of like expecting these antics from her mom that she's kind of like, okay, she's doing it again, being annoying.
It's kind of that weird. She's trying to push the friend dynamic over a mom dynamic a little bit too. She's try-harding it a little bit. She's trying to be the friend.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of needling of like, I know you don't like Rocky Road cookies. So
yeah,
I see you. That would have been okay. But yeah, it was a little dance like was over the top for you, yeah?
It's just, and then Suki just keeps going and going and going and doesn't know when to
Suki's also oblivious to pretty much everything.
She's emblematic of the person that doesn't know when to let something go. Like, that's just...
I think she just enjoyed the song, if I'm being honest. I think she's just living her life.
I don't know. I would have just absolutely walked out.
I can understand that. And then we find out that Rory is going to the grandparents tonight, so it's probably Friday night. And Lorelai says to tell Grandma and Grandpa that I'm having Satan's baby.
Yes, this is the second time that Rosemary's Baby has been referenced.
And you caught that. I didn't even I heard them say obviously Satan's baby, but it didn't connect to me that it was Rosemary's baby.
It has to be another Rosemary Baby's reference. Like that's the only time that anyone has had Satan's baby.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. And I'm really curious why this reference has popped up twice. Like, I'm wondering if there's I don't know, like there's something that they're feeling like having a baby young or having a baby out of wedlock or something like there's some analogy or something that they're pulling here.
It's almost puritanical in terms of punishing someone for making bad decisions.
Yeah, there's something. There's something, and anybody who's a writer or knows what's going on here, please reach out and let us know. But there's definitely something.
There's definitely kind of a very negative connotation to young women experiencing those things for the first time later on in the series.
Sure.
Like, so it's almost like they're getting punished for living their life.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sad way to look at it. And we don't want to end on a sad note. So Rory and Lane leave out of the kitchen and they are walking. And again, Rory is ignoring Lane as she continues to try and tell her all about Rich Blumenfeld and how much she thinks she's in love with him and like all of these
how
things.
It's a problem. And I want to know, do you think it's foreshadowing that she said he's a band member and that's a problem?
I hear what you're saying.
Because every single one of Lane's relationships is someone that she's in a band with.
So I think that is very much pushing she's super into music, so the people that she's with have to be super into music. But I mean, just like with Rory, I mean, at least our first two, they're sharing books. Like that's the thing that they're doing. So I don't know if that's
all three of them have connection to literature because Logan is on the paper.
Right. So like I don't know if they like are boiling down a human into their few interests and that's kind of what they're doing here. Or
I mean, that is also true. Like you wind up with someone with shared interests a lot of the time because you have a shared interest.
Oh, really? Tell me, what's your shared interest? We're married, I was wondering. So do tell.
I like doing the little crazy mini adventures and
you? If anybody was wondering, when we first got together, my husband said, I don't like doing things with people. And I said, it's not about the thing you're doing. It's about the experience of doing it with the person you care about. And he was like, yeah, no, I don't actually
We are
like
also both of us are very introverted. So we don't like people.
I mean, yes, we can agree on that. We don't like people, but I don't know that our hobbies or like special interests match up the way that this show makes it seem like you do.
No, but you can see that happens a lot in the world where you find someone that has a common interest with you or is at least pleasant to be around because of some reason.
At least they don't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
It's like I think it's the Finnish, the term for boyfriend or girlfriend they don't have. It's just I like you more or I hate you less than I hate other people, basically.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about you. So,
yeah. I hate you less than I hate other people.
Yeah, I hate you less too. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's actually the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. But yeah, so they're talking and she's ignoring, and then Dean shows up at the bench, and Rory's attention is immediately like drawn right to Dean. Lane has disappeared; she does not matter. And Dean has said that he's just finished reading a book. Now, I couldn't see the book, and I went and looked online, and there's some speculation of what book that is. He did say it's by Jane Austen, but as I'm sure you all know, there's many Jane Austen books, and I couldn't actually see it. Did you actually see it?
I didn't. So it's one of like 4. Yeah. So it's like Pride and Prejudice or one of the others.
The internet believes it's Emma based on the way that the cover looks, but I mean, I tried to like slow it down, and I couldn't. So I'm not sure on that. But again, this is another point where we're showing Dean is on the level with her. He's able to share these references. He read Jane Austen.
They did him dirty in the later season. Like look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, like
in later.
He read Jane Austen. Like I don't know how many people have read Jane Austen, but it is not an easy thing to get through. I was an English major and I had a hard time getting through it. It was not something. It's not something you just casually read. Like Jane Austen is something. So they're showing that, and then he's saying like, I know you said I need to read Jane Austen, but you need to read Hunter Thompson. And again, this is him understanding her because from what I read about Hunter Thompson, he's a journalist, which is what Rory wants to be. He's known for his first person, purposely not objective journalism.
I think it's more to that. I think it's a deeper reference even than that for Dean, which is just shows you how in touch with Rory he is in the first season. Hunter Thompson is very much the anti-Rory in terms of life experience.
Yeah, but it's what she wants to do.
It's what she wants. And he's trying to say, you got to get out of your shell and experience life. But Hunter S. Thompson said something to the effect of life is not meant to be protected until you get to the end and you arrive safe and neat. No, you're meant to skid up with the gas tank empty and fucking in disarray and just sigh to yourself, wow, what a ride. Like you're supposed to squeeze every last drop out of life.
Which is
opposite Rory so far.
Yeah, but it's what she said she's wanted to do. She's been saying, we've heard her say that she wants to be a journalist, she wants to get out there, she wants to experience life, she wants to travel, she wants to do all those things. So him recommending that really shows that he knows what she's aspiring to, which again, we don't see that in the later episodes. So like this is another moment where I'm like, okay, like yes, they are on the same level.
He's being supportive and pushing her in the direction that she wants to go.
Unlike later when he's basically like, why the heck are you going to Harvard? Like, why are you doing these things? Like, why are you trying so hard? Why can't you just stay with me?
It's just such a change of care. Like, it's bizarre.
So I'm still on Team Dean in this
Dean to this point is the top choice. Like he beats Jess if you take him out of the next
if you ignore the rest of his personality. But you can't. He's a whole boy, so we're not going to do that. But yeah, if we isolated him right here,
top tier.
He might be. Now I still have a real soft spot for Jess, so I don't know if I can do it, but I can see it.
He is not the worst
in this snapshot where
in this isolated bubble. He goes from worst to competing for best.
And I know that we're getting close to some points where he shows his true colors. So this is the honeymoon stage of the relationship, as they say. And one last reference that I missed while watching it, but apparently towards the end, she tells him that she wants him to read Charlotte Bronte. And I didn't hear it. I don't know how I missed it, but I found it on a list of references and whatever. So Charlotte Bronte is very similar to Jane Austen, although they didn't like each other's works, which is very interesting. But very similar vein of like strong female writers.
Yeah, I think it's more it's similar but different, and she's trying to get him to experience other perspectives, just like he is doing with Hunter S. Thompson. So it's just kind of a back and forth where she's pushing him to be a better person, just as he is. Like
and right now they're compatible. I'm loving it. I'm feeling it. I'm here. So that is where we're going to stop, because next time we are going to get into Lorelai and Max's impromptu date and all of the hijinks that happened there. And we'll talk a little bit about the reenactors, because you've got thoughts. History Tyler has thoughts.
Oh, I'll take over if I'm left unsupervised.
We won't leave him unsupervised, I promise, but he has thoughts. So make sure you come back for that. Make sure that you follow all of those things if you enjoy that stuff, and let us know how much history you like, because if we want to give him a longer leash on this, he'll go for days. So let us know. Let us know what you're thinking, what you like, and share your favorite recipe from this episode on your socials so that we can see it and make sure that Tyler has a full, complete list for episode 3 of this. But thank you guys so much. We will be back really soon with part 2 of our Love, War, and Snow recap.
Thank you for listening.